Does your gut need a bit of love? I really want to talk about this today because I think, probably 8 out of 10 people that I coach or that I have doing my programs or that come through my workshops, they are suffering from some kind of a gut condition, which is being manifested in different ways. We're all individuals, we're all different. And so I just wanted to talk today about, 5 signs that your gut might be needing a little bit of attention. And to see where that resonates. And some of these things are really quick things to fix depending on the severity of your gut condition and depending on what the root cause actually is. Okay, so the symptoms that I want to focus on, the first one is you're often bloated. How many women do I coach that have come in and they're skinny, like their body is skinny and their gut is kind of distended, it's sticking out a little bit. And then they're like, why? Like, why am I always bloated? You might feel pain as well. You might have gut pain in addition to the bloating, or you just might be bloated. Typically, we might wake up in the morning and we have a flat tummy, and then by the end of the day, we look like we're pregnant. So why is that? There's several reasons why this could be happening, but the main one is that often we just are not chewing our food anywhere near enough. Like, you go out for dinner with people and they're literally like going gulp, gulp, swallow, and then they're drinking all this water with their food. They're not allowing their gut time to rest and to then digest. We're just shove, 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 shove. And we do this routinely. So what happens then is when we're not chewing our food, that we're getting these undigested foods entering into our gut. So they're just too big. The gut's got to work really, really hard. So the hydrochloric acid in your gut is what's responsible for digesting your food. And it's got to go chop, 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 and break it down into small particles so it can then enter your small intestine, ready for digestion and absorption into your body. So if you're feeling bloated, it could simply be because you are not chewing your food for anywhere near long enough, and you might be eating it in a busy rush state. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 leads right into that. So symptom number 2 is that you fart a lot. My kids in the past have referred to me as toxic fart woman. So I have definitely experienced irritable bowel syndrome and symptoms of poor digestion in the past. And sometimes they reoccur for me when I'm not eating correctly. So a result of this, why are you farting? Again, it can result in a few different things, but number 1 that you can implement very easily is just the combination of what you eat your food in. So as an example, fruits being comprised of mostly fructose, which is fruit sugar, this is digested so rapidly, okay? And if we're not having fruits with other things, then this is ideal because the fruit wants to go into the gut and get it out really quickly. For those nutrients to be absorbed and to be utilized by the body, this is good. But when we're eating fruit after very heavy meals, and I'll give you an example, like say you have a roast for dinner. So you've got this big chunk of meat and then you've got the roast potatoes and then maybe you've got some veggies on the side. This is quite a heavy meal. You've got the starch in the potatoes and then the protein in the meat and the fat in the meat. And this can sit in your gut for a long time, like hours and hours of digestion is required to break this food down. Then say you're making the healthy choice and you have watermelon for dessert. Watermelon is literally like water and sugar with minerals and things like that added, and it's digested so fast. So you've got this meat sitting here, the watermelon sitting on top, and this is rotting and fermenting because it's blocked there. It wants to get out fast, and instead the gut's expanding, and now you're looking bloated, now you're farting, and it stinks. Okay, so food combining can be really effective in fixing this. So sticking with eating your fruits in the morning and keeping your heavier foods to later on. Or if you just find, like sometimes if I eat fruit with protein powder even, I can bloat and fart. So it's just about knowing what works for your body and to just simplify your food a little bit. Like if you're having meat, have it just with veg. It doesn't need a lot of carbohydrates as well. This can cause the bloating and the farting as well. Okay, so symptom number 3, maybe you feel tired all the time. Like not just, I had a bad night's sleep, I feel tired today. Like you've got deep exhaustion in your body. This is a sign that your gut's not working properly because it means that your body is likely not absorbing minerals or absorbing antioxidants and nutrients. And so when your body doesn't have the foundational things that it needs to thrive, you feel exhausted. So mineral deficiencies are something I work very closely with a lot of my clients. They've got low iron, B12, whatever it is. And what it means is getting the gut in a good state that it can actually assimilate and utilize those nutrients that are in your food. because it's no good eating all the good stuff if your body's not absorbing it. Okay, so if you're feeling exhausted, my recommendation, first of all, would be to go get a blood test. Go see your GP, see where you have the deficiencies, and then work from the inside out. Try and get your gut in a better state that it can absorb food. And this is eating when you're calm, not in a stress state, which leads me to my next point. So symptom number 4 is you often feel really stressed, really worried, or overly anxious. Okay, not just like, oh, I've got something stressful coming up, I'm a bit, this is like stress that consumes you. And so, I want to really focus on this because this is most people. We're so busy, we're really requiring so much of our body, and we're burning through our nutrition so fast because the body is constantly on high alert. So if you think about it in terms of even just your happy hormones, your serotonin, which is the hormone responsible for making you feel good, 80% of it is produced in the gut. And if your gut's not absorbing nutrients and it's not being sent back up to your brain, then you're going to feel more stressed, more anxious, and more worried. Okay, so stress is the number one thing that will shut down your digestion because it's not necessary in that moment. When you're stressed, your body thinks it's in danger and it wants to try and get you out of danger. So historically, back in the day, this is like running away from a lion or someone's trying to kill you, so you want to get that stress response so you have enough adrenaline to run away. But when you're constantly living in a state of stress and with adrenaline pumping through your body, then the body's only got a certain amount of energy. It'll shut down digestion to then focus on creating more adrenaline, creating more, blood stimulation so that you can actually get yourself out of danger. So this is not good when we're constantly in this state. So sometimes it's not even about food. Gut function can really have to do a lot with just chilling out. Like relaxation strategies, deep breathing is something that can really start to calm down your parasympathetic nervous system. This is your rest and repair. If your body is resting and it's repairing, then your gut by default is going to work better. Okay, so deep breathing, when I feel my stress levels rise when I'm really busy, that I have to then stop and meditate, or I have to stop and do some yoga, something that's going to calm it down. Because if I just go and eat to try and manage my stress levels through food, which I've done as well, I'll always get a gut ache. I'll always feel bloated. I'll always feel meh because my gut is not focused on digestion. It's focused on stress. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about now is just the last symptom that you might have some gut love that needs to happen is what your poo looks like. So if you are someone that often has diarrhea or you're often constipated, two very different issues, but relating back to there's something not quite right in your gut. So if your poo is often, like diarrhea, this means there's too much fluid being retained in your stools. So this means too that you're not absorbing nutrition, like your intestines aren't filtering them out properly, so that when you go to the toilet, it's typically this big mess and it's really smelly. So I often see this as a result of eating too much gluten and too much dairy. People seem to have poos that are very, very runny. And gluten being a protein that's very hard to digest, the protein in wheat products, when we're consuming it this day after day after day, the body's digestive process can get a little bit tired, which means that you're not absorbing nutrients properly through the intestines. So dropping down some of the gluten and the dairy in the diet is very important. And also on the flip side, if you're constipated all the time, it means you're probably not getting enough fiber. So fruits and vegetables are the foundation of my diet. This is what I teach routinely. If you're not eating vegetables first and some good healthy fruits, these are the things that your gut thrives on. It adds the fiber, which feeds the good bacteria in your gut. It's so important to get fruit and vegetables into your body daily. So this will help flush things out as well. It keeps you regular. And if you're not pooing twice a day, I hate to say it, but you are probably a little bit constipated and you might need to focus on adding a little bit more vegetables in, even some healthy whole grains, fruits, things like that into your diet that's going to help to flush you out. So the last thing I'll quickly focus on before I wrap up here is just getting your gut in a good position to actually receive food and to digest food. So each area of your body has a specific pH level, and I won't get too into that, but your gut pH, it's like optimally, it's meant to be 1.9, okay, which is really acidic. Like if you touch that with your bare hands, you're going to burn yourself, okay, and it needs to be this acidic to be able to break down that food. And because the function of the gut, it's got to break down the food into the smallest possible particle so it can then enter the intestine to be absorbed. So the nutrients are not wasted, they want to be absorbed. And if your gut is not acidic enough, it's not going to break down those foods properly. So, some little hacks that you can do to help increase the acidity in your gut is to have some apple cider vinegar or some lemon before meals. So you have it in a bit of water. This can lower the pH of your gut so that you can then receive food and it's digested in a little bit more better. Also, to not having all of this water with your food can help so much. Like, it sounds so simple, but we all drink with our meals. But what this is doing, water is typically fairly alkaline. It doesn't have a high pH at all, and it can just dilute those stomach acids right down. So you have a whole cup of water with your meal. Now the stomach's got to work really hard because you've just diluted all the stomach acid. So ideally, you want to keep your liquid intake half an hour before or half an hour after a meal, and while you're eating, you're just allowing your gut to receive the food and to absorb those nutrients there. So hopefully these tips were helpful. I'd love to know if you've experienced other gut issues, then please get in touch. I'd love to hear what they are. There's so many of them. I could probably rattle off another 20. But, the main ones I see is bloated, people fighting, people feeling uncomfortable, people feeling really tired and chronically stressed. They are the main ones that I really focus on and I see in my clients. And if you want to know more about this, my Gut Health Initiative workshop is where I teach about all of this in great detail and teach you how that you can actually start to repair your body from the inside out, starting with the gut, because the gut controls everything. It's like your second brain. So I think I've got about 4 tickets left. The workshop is on this Saturday, the 14th of March. So if that interests you, get in touch with me. But yeah, just work on trying to chill out, eating in a calm state, and see what happens to your body. Add some more fruits and vegetables in. It's so important. So thanks, guys. I'll come on and speak to you again soon. Bye.